Yes, I understand. I'm behind on a lot of weapons. So, in today's video, I'm going to cover the newest rifle that's been added to the game. We're going to be covering the Reconifex. I'm going to tell you why it's such a cool weapon, how I built it, and, well, we're going to go test and see how it feels in an overall mission. And I may actually show y'all an interesting interaction it has with a lot of other abilities that people have. I'll see y'all in the Simulacrum. So on screen, you'll see the stats for the base weapon. So the Reconifex has a very interesting way of being used. So if you've ever played, well, Drifter and Devere, you'd know the Siroc has an interesting mechanic. Whenever you reload, you'll have a perfect reload timer. Well, the Reconifex, while being a 200 round magazine standard, I'd call it a big mag rifle. It also has a special gimmick, which will give it a heat reload, like magazine, I guess is what you can call it. When you do this, that magazine will have heat rounds that inflict 25% more damage with a guaranteed status. So on top of your normal base damage bullet, you're also applying a heat bullet. That is 25% of the damage that you'd be doing normally, which is very nice because that's a separate set of multi-shot. Now, things you could do is like mix that with other frames that add like additional elements to your weapon, additional rounds to your weapon by using like Mirage. That adds even more multi-shot technically, and other mods like galvanized chamber to add more multi-shots, stuff like that. So the way we'll be building the weapon is dependent on how you play. You can build for status, even though its status chance may be a little low. Its crit chance is quite nice, so you could be building it for that. So it's all up to the user. I have 3 builds, one for armored enemies, one for the Orokin or anyone you want to use viral against, and one that I found is quite nice against the Corpus. So I'll be showing those off, testing them in the Simulacrum, and then I'll be randomly picking one and going and finding that certain enemy type. Let's go over those builds, shall we? So I hope you guys are enjoying this video. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do want to ask everyone who watches these videos, because a lot of y'all do, if you're enjoying the content so far and do want to see more of these videos, make sure you guys go down below and hit that like button, do subscribe and turn on that bell for post notifications, and even leave a comment if you want, because knowing that y'all enjoy these videos makes me want to make them more. And if y'all are able to continue making my channel grow, more people will see these and more people will be able to get well informed on weapons, because I seek to give y'all more information, because when y'all get informed of good information, y'all know how to make better builds than I do. So let's continue on with the video. Like I said, we have 3 builds. Each one of these builds is something I found works, but obviously change it to fit your playstyle. With the first build, I will go ahead and explain this. Galvanized Aptitude does indeed work properly, as it is additive to the damage you have. Take advantage of that if you have a pet. Otherwise, replace this to be whatever you want. It could be prime cryo rounds, or you could add a V for either spectral serration if you plan on using an invisible frame, or serration if you like, or another mod that you prefer. So we're going with corrosive cold with radiated reload, just to take full advantage of that, with primary frostbite for the cold stats, giving us additional crit damage and multi-shot, making our multi-shot go really, really high. Next will be the viral build, where we're going against Orokin, and anyone else that want to deal viral to. Change out the Bane mod for what you need. We're still going to be using Galvanized Scope, Galvanized Chamber, and Galvanized Aptitude with prime cryo rounds with Malignant Force to make viral. High voltage for electricity. We have some like AoE, just a little vital sense for crit damage, obviously, and primary merciless, or you could use primary deadhead if you prefer that. I like primary merciless because while I will be aiming for the head with galvanized scope, I'm not guaranteed the headshot because it is a rifle that shoots relatively okay, but it has a recoil that you have to control. Finally, like and sub, obviously, if you want to see more videos like this. But we have one for the Corpus. I like magnetic due to how it works now, being able to strip overguard real easy, but it also spreads. And I'm going to be using primary blight. If you have a higher one, use it. This is the best one I have. If I wanted to, I could replace it for something else, but I thought it'd be interesting. So this is easily able to tear through them. So I'll show off each individual one, and then we'll go test it in a steel path mission. First, we have armored enemies. Now, something that you will be seeing is I'm applying a lot of status, and you're probably thinking, wow, that does no damage. Well, we are using a ramp up weapon, and this is without reloading to add the heat. Let's reload and add the heat. Now, this is a separate bullet that's being applied on top of everything else that we have. So it's going to help us shred even more. Now, this is without buffs. This is without any of my Warframe abilities, anything. And it's doing quite well against level 165 steel path enemies, which is nicely expected. As you see, I am obviously aiming for the head. You're not guaranteed headshots, but I'm trying to make it seem as best as possible. So as you see, with the additional bullet type, this weapon hits even harder. Let's show off the viral build, the Corpus build, and then we'll go to steel path. Well, since you already know how the gun works, I'm going to go ahead and pre-reload so you can see how it acts off the rip, I guess. Once again, we're using ramp up mods, so it's going to take a second for them to ramp up. But once we get them ramped up, well, as you'll see, the gun starts learning that it is quite strong and it needs to start cracking these heads open. And I see it does amazing at doing that too. My aim is just really bad. Thanks to electricity, we're staggering people, and it works quite nice. Now let's do the corpus, and then I'll also show off the interactions that this weapon has with other abilities. All right, now we're doing the corpus. Also, once again, we're using galvanized aptitude, so we're not seeing the full damage since I'm not applying all of the possible status effects I could be. We'll be adding a pet to that addition. So whatever pet you have that is a status procer or a weapon, run that if you're running galvanized aptitude, otherwise change it to what you need on your build. And see, even the corpus build does quite well. So I'm going to go back to either the corrosive build or the viral build, and I'm going to show off what happens when you mix it with certain abilities. So what we're going to be doing is mixing it with Zata's Whisper and Toxic Lash. So I'm going back to the corrosive build. With this, Zata's Whisper adds its own extra damage type, being that of void damage to our attacks, as well as Toxic Lash now applying our own extra damage of toxin to everything. Pretty bog standard build. I just threw things on that buff the things we were using. And as you saw with our Arcanes, Avenger and Multi-Augmented to increase the damage. So once you spawn in the enemy type we'll be fighting, we'll proc Toxic Lash, Zata's Whisper. We'll make sure our gun's reloaded with heat. And now these are each individual procs that we're going to be applying. So as you see, I'm purposely trying to make sure I go for the enemies that don't. There you go. We have all those damage types, so even before we have, well, applied any other ones for galvanized aptitude. And since we have the heat bullet, that's applying everything else we have in the gun on top of that with Zata's Whisper and Toxic Lash. So we have quite literally the base weapon bullet doing Zata's Whisper and Toxic Lash. We have the heat bullet doing Zata's Whisper and Toxic Lash. And the heat bullet's also taking into account all of our other mods as well. Quite powerful, if you ask me. I'll see y'all in a Steel Path mission. We're gonna go find some armored enemies I don't like. Y'all are probably wondering, why aren't you fighting the Scaldra? Well, I hate having to go fight for my life support to come back, so I decided not to fight them. So I went with the other best option for armored enemies, which is the Murmur. Purely because I don't like the Murmur. They don't like me, I don't like them. Simple as that. Now, as you see, I haven't reloaded. I'm currently just using the basic bullet, and it's doing quite well since I'm taking full advantage of galvanized aptitude. But what if I reload and add the bullet on top of all that? Well, if only this thing had a little bit of punch through. Obviously, you could use sight. That actually make the punch through be really useful, and I've actually thought about it, but at the same time, it's really hard to keep his evade up with this weapon purely because of the fact that it's a, what is the word? Assault rifle with a weird like recoil pattern. So you're not guaranteed to hit all of the weak point spots. That's what it is. But if you did plan on doing that, use like Spectral Serration and then that weak point activity. I'm having a stroke, I think. Either way, you know what I'm talking about. Now, how is it going to fare against this guy? Oh, actually really well. Holy. You realize you are pretty obvious that you're holding the thing, right? Yes, you didn't. Now, what if I add spores to all of this? I haven't thought about that yet. What if I add spores to everything? Oh. Oh, okay. Oh, right. Oh, no. Yeah, I think spores is the thing that broke the camel's back. Now everything is guaranteed to die. Well then, we need a challenge. Where's the Acolyte? Let's get him to spawn, shall we? All right. It would appear that we are finally getting the Acolyte I've been waiting for like a good bit to spawn. Ah, of course, we get the Valkyr. Where are they? Ooh, hello. Look at all the statuses applied on them. Like, just they're just gone. They're just dead. Also, this was a bad option for trying to get galvanized scope to work because literally the only thing here I can really hit a crit on is the dogs. But I see it's still doing quite well even without me running Zata's Whisper or Toxic Lash on. I will go give my final thoughts on this weapon. All right, answer is I could never find that necromech that spawned, so I have no idea where he was. What do I think about the Reconifex? In my personal opinion, the Reconifex, while it is Sight 09 signature rifle, it's really not the best on him because when it comes to sight, you want to use snipers is what I've noticed because of his whole bonus from his secondary stuff, blah, blah, blah. Whole different thing. Anyway, the Reconifex, good overall rifle. It's a phenomenal option. Most people probably won't use it because it is a single target weapon and it's not a kaboom this, kablooey that, hit every enemy this weapon. But it's a very fun and gimmicky weapon that does deserve the usage it should be getting because it is quite nice due to the whole fact of it is a multi-shot monster. I'm actually planning on using this a lot more, even over some of my Incarnons. But hope this guide and review is helpful to y'all. I hope you guys do enjoy it. Tell me what weapons you want to see down below. The next one will probably be the Vesper, because it's, well, the other weapon that was added in Warframe 1999. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on that bell for post notifications. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out. See you next time.